January 14th, 2025. This is a review of Genesis 37, 38, and 39 with Chronicles 2, 3 through 6, and 8 in there for reference, I guess. It's Chronological Bible in a year. So this is what I got out of this. I mean, we start out with Joseph and Jacob showing favoritism to him and making his brothers jealous, and and then Joseph telling his brothers about these dreams he had. It's almost like he was taunting them, right? That's the feel that I get from how it was written, especially when Jacob rebukes him for going there and for sharing that. And so he was kind of giving it back to him, but he was the favored son, and that caused issues, and it's something to consider, I think. What's God telling us through this? We also get where he goes off and to meet them, and there's a couple little nuggets of I don't know what they're there for kind of things, like he met a man, and all these things led up to him being there. Those brothers going to Dothan. What was in Dothan that was so important, or why did they want to go there? Was it for evil or was it for good? And why was Jacob sending Joseph there in the first place? But anyway, Reuben, we've got Reuben, the oldest, trying to do the right thing, but he didn't really. I mean, he didn't stop them from doing it. He didn't stand up. He let his brothers do it, but he tried to convince them, just do it this way. And then he must leave, which they don't really say, while they sell Joseph off. So everything that Joseph does here, he's thrown into a well, a dry well, fortunately for him, or blessed by God for him. They throw him in a dry well, and then they pull him out and sell him to some traders for slaves, right? So we've got that, and they're off. They go off, and they fool their dad and said, no, something must have killed him. Here's his coat with some fake blood on it, or some goat's blood on it. It's not Joseph's, obviously. So we've got that. Then we've got then in that we have the story of Judah going off and making his way and having a couple children and them growing up. But 3 children, Er and Onan, Er and Onan. And Er was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord took his life. And Onan was wicked too, for withholding the pregnancy of Er's wife. Wicked, and the Lord took their lives. How wicked do you have to be for God to take your life? What is that all about? And what caused that? I think, that's the description of what happened, and there's a lot of reasons that people die. Some it's just the way it is, but some is it wickedness? I don't know. I think today we have Jesus and we have the forgiveness, and it's just a matter of time. We're given all opportunity, but then there was a purpose for it. Wickedness. Do not be wicked. Then what else? Then we've got the story of, Judah holding back his oldest son instead of sending him with Tamar. Tamar going, hey, you're supposed to do this. So she conspires and sleeps with him and becomes pregnant, and very cunning, very, very wise in what she did and how she handled it. And it's interesting, Judah said the worst thing that was done here is that he held back. He held back for fear. He held back Shelah, his youngest son, and wouldn't let her let him have her, or let her have him, whatever you want, however you want to put that. But he held it back for fear. That was worse than prostitution. That was worse than the sex. That was worse than anything. Interesting. Are we holding back? What are we holding back for fear? What should we be moving forward on? What should we be doing that's right, but our fear is keeping us from doing it? Thoughts. So we've got that, and then we've got the little snippet about Tamar's baby, and we got Zerah and Perez, and how the one Perez came out. Zerah came out first with his hand, and then pulled back, and then that's an interesting. What does that mean? There's symbolism there that I'm not getting, but it's something to consider. The out first and back in. That's something to dig into, read on. I'll want to read some commentary on that. I'm sure that's some interesting stuff. All this stuff is just, I kind of want to dive deeper in a lot of it and find out more. Hard to do with just reading for the year, so I'll probably come back to this, see about tonight. But that was interesting. Then we get into Joseph. Him being bought by Potiphar and God blessed him. God blessed Joseph. He was with Joseph and he blessed him greatly, and everything around him succeeded. And then he was in prison and everything around that succeeded. There was great success. Said Potiphar didn't worry about anything with Joseph in charge, and the prisoner didn't. The warden didn't worry about anything because he had Joseph in charge, and God was with him. But Joseph had to endure a lot. He had to endure first being thrown into the well and beaten. He had to endure being sold as a prisoner. He had to endure temptation, not sold as a slave. He had to endure slavery and endure temptation, and he had to endure prison. But God blessed him, and God was with him through that. And it's just, that's how that worked. And the Lord was with him and caused everything that he did to succeed. So our focus needs to be on just seeking God. And, I think that a lot. And I think that with our own problems, when we focus on our problems, they just get bigger, they get worse. When we can turn our thoughts to God, God will help us through that. God's there, and God is way bigger than our problems. We can see how Joseph did that. When he was tempted by Potiphar's wife to sleep with her, it would be a great sin against God. And he wasn't even worried about Potiphar so much. He respected him and respected the position and that, but it would be a great sin against God, the Creator God, to do that. He knew that. A righteous man. That's what righteousness looks like, and that's what blessings look like through righteousness. Keep pondering. Keep letting the Bible make you think about these things. Think about, Joseph having to go through what he had to go through. Part of that was because he was taunting, because he was proud. He knew he had the blessing. He knew he had his father's favor. But it's what we do with that. It's how we handle ourselves. Gets us into trouble.